You'll identify yourself, you'll be recognized.
Good morning. My name is Chad Hall. I'm originally from Siloam Springs. Right now, I'm a licensed educator in Arkansas, English 7th through 12th grade, secondary. And right now, I am a graduate student at Arkansas Tech, as well as a composition instructor. Originally, I came here with a speech planned for you guys, but excuse me, I'm nervous. As I was driving here from Russellville, passing Atkins and Morrilton into Conway and Little Rock, I felt that it wasn't substantive enough. And so instead, I'm going to be doing what one of my kids calls having a real talk with y'all about education in Arkansas. And if I could address Senator Davis specifically for a moment, I've taught in your Senate district my entire career. I did my observation in Russellville. I completed my internship at Dover High School. And of course, right now I'm teaching at Arkansas Tech, developmental readers and writers at Arkansas Tech. I've worked with students facing substance abuse, who are parents, who have been abused or suicidal, do not speak English fully, no matter how long they've been here in Arkansas in the public school system or any school system. I love my kids dearly. And they are struggling greatly. Even now in college, I have students who are reading around a 6th, 7th, 8th grade reading level, and they are college students. They write arguably at a lower level than that, in my opinion. I've read this 144-page bill, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but quite honestly, you have failed to do anything to help these students. And that goes for everyone in here. I've taught students from every single one of your Senate districts. I've taught from Fayetteville, Bentonville, Rogers, Little Rock, Conway. I've taught Pine Bluff, Jonesboro. I've taught students everywhere who are coming from everywhere. And they are struggling in ways that this bill doesn't even touch. And it comes from a misunderstanding of education and what has been done in education for years, and that is putting everything on local school districts to come up with the resources and to basically figure it out for themselves. And that's not enough when the training that's being provided to teachers is not substantive enough to meet the needs of every student that is going to be coming into our classrooms. I have Black students who have been told and believe that there's something wrong with the way they talk because they can only replicate their speech on paper when they're writing essays. And I have to sit down and beg them to understand that I don't want them to change the way they talk. I love the way they talk. There was just a failure to properly train a teacher to separate speech to writing. I have Hispanic students, again, who've never learned English. They're in college. I teach international students. The resources are not there. This bill doesn't address higher education almost at all. This bill, in my opinion, leaves behind secondary education students almost entirely because it stops about K through 3rd grade. And what you guys don't understand is that these students are suffering all the way through 12th grade, and it's not their fault. I came here today because I need someone here who cares about these kids as much as I do. And to hopefully get across to you guys that $50,000 means nothing to me if you are not using this opportunity to appropriately meet the needs of students and meet the needs of the teachers who are teaching those students. And this bill fails to do that. And it directly attacks the teaching profession in public schools. And it continues to just leave everything to local school districts who already don't have the resources. I know school districts who do not have textbooks for their English classes. I know schools that cannot hire the teachers they need because they don't have the resources from you guys. That is unacceptable, and this bill just continues that while, again, attacking teachers for indoctrination that doesn't exist, for not being able to meet the demands of every single student when you guys aren't giving us the tools to do so. And while I appreciate this time to be able to speak to you guys about this, more needs to be done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Senator Hammer, did
Would
you
you
have a
mind
question?
asking? Thank you, Madam Chair. You mind answering a couple questions?
Of course.
It sounds like you've been all over the state teaching. How many school districts have you taught in?
I do apologize. I misspoke. I meant to, and I thought I respoke. I meant to say students coming from all over the state, coming to Arkansas Tech. I'm a composition instructor. For the first 3 semesters of my master's, I taught the composition workshop, which is tied to Comp 1, and it teaches developing readers and writers, students who did not receive a certain score on the ACT in either the English or the reading portion. And so they've been put into Comp 1 and workshop to help catch up and meet those needs.
Have you ever taught in the K-12 classroom?
I completed my internship, as I said, at Dover High School. I taught the entire semester 3, I believe, sections of regular 12th grade English.
So you've never taught in the K-12 classroom outside of your higher ed requirements?
That's correct.
Okay. And your statement was that the system has failed to teach teachers, and as a result of that, if I understood you right, that's part of what you're attributing the failure rate of students to, is that the teachers that have been taught by our higher ed institutions have not been taught adequately in order to go into the classroom and to teach the students. That's how I interpreted what you said. Did I misinterpret anything you said?
I think that's a part of it, and I only have a certain amount of time. If you give me just a second, I think that includes the advancements that have been made in education and the needs for Arkansas students. We have a higher rate of students coming in from throughout the country who are moving in here. They're coming from other countries themselves. And being able to meet those students' needs, a consistent failure that's been around of understanding multicultural diversity of our students. As I said, I have Black students who primarily have lived their entire lives speaking in African American English, but we have not properly trained our teachers to understand that that's 100% okay, and we just need to find the ways that they can adapt their language to meet the formal writing needs. I'm speaking as an English teacher specifically. And then just the resources in our classrooms, okay? No one can teach without textbooks, but yet they're having to do that, even as we sit here and say that in the Arkansas Constitution, it is your responsibility to fully fund our schools. Then why are they underfunded still? Why are they under-resourced still?
Okay.
So those are, when I'm talking about training, that goes into all of that, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Amanda, SU?